We don't need more laws on the books. We don't need more regulation. We need to enforce the regulations we have. Boom! Boom! What's up, everyone? Marc Lobliner, TigerFitness.com, CEO, MTS Nutrition. I wanted to kind of get this information out there because some of you might order from them or might be wondering what's going on, because there has been some looming things, especially since they got raided back in December, as you saw on their channel. Now, a lot of you, being that you're not industry people, might not get the emails from Natural Products Insider. So this information is out there, it's public, and I just want to kind of relay this to you guys and also start dialogue in the comments section what you think of this. Now, the CEO of Enhanced Athlete could go to prison for allegedly violating the terms of his supervised release following a criminal conviction in 2014. Scott Cavell faces up to 2 years in prison if his supervised probation is revoked. Meanwhile, the California businessman is suspected of manufacturing unapproved drugs and controlled substances for human consumption. Court records show that would be the Enhanced Athlete company, and that's something that's been going on. Court documents have been released. They're public and all that good stuff. So a federal judge earlier this week issued a warrant for his arrest, and his probation officer, because he is under probation, we'll go into why he's on probation in a second. He alleged, I'm sure the probation officer has drug tests or whatever, but of course alleged is of course until you're proven guilty in the court of law, which he has not been. For the record, he has not been proven guilty, and this is not about Enhanced Athlete at this time. That's other litigation that's going on. So he is alleged by his probation officer of violating by testing positive for marijuana, anabolic steroids, and he failed to report the purchase of a Corvette, which was around $94,000, which he had registered to someone else. He re-registered it to an employee of Enhanced Athlete, but then they searched it, was in his garage, and his roommate was basically like, yeah, that's his car. So again, now, what was he in prison for? In 2014, he pleaded guilty to wire fraud in connection to a mortgage fraud scheme. Sentenced to 5 years in prison, but was released in early in July 2016. So he got out early on that. He was arrested on February 7, 2018, appeared for a detention hearing the next day. So that's pretty much what's going on there. So how does this affect our buddy, Dr. Tony Hughes? Now, that's a funny situation because Tony Hughes, despite being the face of Enhanced Athlete, has been, basically stated in court and by Cavell that he is not a paid member of Enhanced Athlete. He is not remunerated in any way, meaning that he does not get any kind of money. He does not get commission. Basically, the only thing they have done for him, according to what they say, is that they've paid for some of his travel expenses to go to all those cool countries he goes to, and this and that. Now, everybody, I didn't know this Cavell guy existed. I thought Dr. Tony Hughes, Charles Anthony Hughes. It's a subject of debate in civil litigation whether he does have a part of the company. So he is right now, other than that debate, whether he is a part of Enhanced Athlete, he right now is not in any issue from what I can tell with this. Again, that's another civil matter. This is a criminal matter. This is a matter brought forth by the government. So that's what's going on. So if any of you want to know what's going on, you probably wouldn't have found out about this. You might have gotten some weird information because a lot of you don't subscribe, again, to trade magazines in the natural products world. So that's what's going on. Let us know your thoughts. What do you think about this? They didn't get him on the manufacturing of SARMs yet. So those of you interested in that, this arrest was not for that. It was for violating his probation. Now, what's going to happen with SARMs, in my opinion, being that they are not intended for human consumption, They are research chemicals labeled, or they should be labeled, not intended for human consumption. It is my opinion that sooner or later, the US government, FDA, DEA will get involved, and I'm not sure, nor have I had a concrete answer of the statute of limitations. So for example, there's a lot of people in this industry who own companies now who made their money initially in those companies or with related companies they own, selling research chemicals or SARMs. Whether the government takes them up and prosecutes them for their past sales of SARMs once they figure out how to go after this, your guess is as good as mine. I mean, I thought, and I've said this in video, that the US government would crank down on SARMs and pro-hormones, but here's the problem. Everybody says we need more regulation in the supplement industry. Everybody says we need more FDA. The laws are already on the books. We already have to follow GMPs. Those should have been in place a long time ago. And if you are following GMPs, let's be real here, the FDA is investigating you. NSF won't certify you. If we are doing it by the book, like how I manufacture my products and all that involved, none of this would be an issue. Because if you're following GMPs, you cannot manufacture SARMs. You cannot manufacture as dietary supplements. Now, research chemicals, it's a loophole. I'm not even sure how that works. I'm not sure who makes them. And that's my problem with research chemicals, with SARMs, with all that, is we have no oversight into how these are made. Being that they cannot be NSF, they cannot be GMP, they're being mixed in some backyard lab. In a lab that is not compliant. And that is my concern. Not once have I debated the efficacy or legitimacy of SARMs or hormones or any of that stuff. All I'm saying is that it cannot be manufactured in facilities that have certifications like NSF. So that is my issue with them. I'm not debating whether they work, whether they don't work. That's not my thing. But if you are following DSHEA, which is Dietary Supplement Act of, I believe it was 1990 or 92. For some reason, I'm kind of blanking on that. If we are following that, then those do not, by any way, those are not DSHEA compliant. So those are some things we need to look at when looking at SARMs, research chemicals, and all of that. So I want to know your thoughts on this. See, the thing is, where I'm getting is we have the laws on the books. If it were up to me, being that I do spend the money, I do have my products manufactured in all NSF compliant facilities and all GMP compliant facilities, that costs a lot of extra money. If the FDA were to go after the fringe players, the guys who aren't playing by the rules, the guys who are manufacturing in subpar facilities without those certifications, if the FDA was to go after them, it would level out the playing field. We don't need more laws on the books. We don't need more regulation. We need to enforce the regulations we have. The FDA is not only in charge of the sport, nutrition, dietary supplements. If I'm not mistaken, I believe the FDA only has 7 full-time people in the dietary supplements division. I could be incorrect. Could be an old number. But they're also, look at it this way, when Chipotle had an issue with salmonella, when Chipotle had an issue with getting people sick from food poisoning, the FDA goes after that. Toothpaste, the FDA is in charge of that. All the food at your grocery store, the FDA is in charge of that. The FDA simply does not have the resource to go after a lot of people that are not abiding by the regulations that are currently in place. So we don't need more regulations. We need to enforce the regulations we have. As for this specific case, as for what's going on with Enhanced Athlete and Cavell, he came from an industry, and he committed a crime before doing this. And that's where they're getting him on probation. So he's not being arrested, from my knowledge, from what I read in Natural Products, he's not being arrested for the acts he committed with Enhanced Athlete. He's being arrested for violating probation, but with the Corvette and everything involved and the allegedly manufacturing illegal chemicals and SARMs, that might do him in, at least for this charge, in violating his pre-existing probation. Anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts. Comment down below, like this video, share it, and let me know your thoughts. That's not a game. Like this video, subscribe to this channel, and click on the link in the description box below to sign up for the Tiger Fitness newsletter. Within a week of publishing this video, we will give out a $50 gift card to tigerfitness.com to one lucky person who does all of these steps.